In this body I call home, this home I've never felt connected to. My bones have been broken by those sticks and stones. Even at 13, girls could be so mean. I'd always been on the chubby side, but I'd been able to hide my big thighs under the guise that I hated jeans, because girls my size couldn't wear skinny jeans. We wore dresses that finished just below the knee. With tights or leggings, there was no in between. I always dreaded free dress day, because how free could I really be when I felt like my body had outgrown me from this body I call home. One of the popular girls, her name escapes me now, but somehow I can still recall her face and the exact place. We caught the same train and got off at the same stop. When she called me cankles, my stomach dropped, and I wanted to jump onto the tracks and hoped the next train was an express. But instead, I walked home, cried, and began to obsess. First it was the shake diet. Mum didn't like it and I had to fight her to let me try it. I taught myself to enjoy it, even that emptiness in the pit of my stomach, and it worked. I lost a lot of weight and friends at school said how great I looked. But it didn't last long. I eventually put on more weight than what I'd lost, so I was back to square one, or minus square one, in this body I call home. Next it was the soup diet. Soup for breakfast, soup for lunch, soup for dinner. This time Mum stayed quiet, and again I lost more weight. I was thrilled. This was me screaming a silent "fuck you" to the girls at school. I was convinced this time around it would stick, but like a bad story you could predict, it began to creep back in, fill me out, and even now I have no doubt my thoughts were toxic, affirmations non-existent. The word self-love never existed, not in my world, my life. Numbers on the scales will haunt me, even in the afterlife. Happiness dictated by numbers, dictated by failures and wins, up or down by 500 grams. Instagrammers and self-professed influencers say the maths is easy. Only put in what your body puts out. Energy converts kilojoules, converts calories burned and consumed. I'm consumed by the numbers once more when eating becomes a chore. Daily calories in, daily calories out. The incessant weighing, counting and reweighing. It makes me scream, it makes me want out of this body I call home. My world is ruled by numbers, classes and categories, classes 1, 2 or 3. If obesity is an epidemic, then my unrealistic expectations are septic. I'm both neurotic and psychotic, conflicted between two states, one of self-love and one of self-hate. But that's me. I've always been all or nothing, because without all I am nothing. I'm black and blue, battered and bruised from years of abuse, self-esteem suffering from self-inflicted wounds in this body I call home. From the moment we're born, we're torn between beauty and scrutiny of every single flaw. Flawed realities and idealized bodies, it's the one thing I'm left consistently questioning. When we're branded like cattle, it's seared into our minds, burned into our eyes like a one-size-fits-all cutout, as if we're cookies or Play-Doh, when all I know begins and ends in this body I call home. Whispers weave their way in and around. I'm bound by words that make my ears prick up, my hackles rise. Objectified and ostracized, I realize this will always be my fight, my battle, a catalyst of what's to come. Inside, I'm screaming, a recoiling of bombs exploding within me, and just when I think I'm safe, my brain tricks me, and like a bad taste in my mouth, it lingers, spreads through my body, my toes, and my fingers. Mirrors mimic my reflection. It's a stranger. No longer can I pretend it's not me who's the danger. I need to be more self-aware, lay bare the strength I have inside of me, something that's always divided me. When the dark thoughts fade and the light finds me, I'll wait patiently in this body I call home.